just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Packer Up Boys, brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. That's right, absolutely flying off the shelves. People are loving our blends. We've got the everyday blend, we've got the very grumpy blend, we've got the pods, we've got the beans. Hopefully ground will be back soon, but we've got the beans and the pods ready to go. 250 grand, a kilo, and also obviously the pods in very grumpy and everyday grumpy. Head to grumpycoffee.com.au, and trust me guys, once you try our coffee, you will not go back. We've got our coffees today. The pods have arrived, haven't they, Matty?
Oh, thank goodness. I'm so happy.
Mate, that's how much we'd sold out of them.
Yeah.
We didn't even have pods, but the pods are back now. We've got the pods ready to go. So grumpycoffee.com.au, and also don't forget Bloke Undies now available at bloke.shop. So that is www.bloke.shop, and these are premium undies. Trust me, guys, you will not. It'd be very rare if you would find. You might find undies as comfy, but more comfy undies than these, I'd be surprised. These are some of the best in the business, the best material you can find, the best cut you can find. Already the feedback has been overwhelming. So bloke.shop.
I'm not just saying this. Yesterday I was wearing a different pair for whatever reason, and I think I must have trained, and then I was like chafing a bit, and I actually was like looking forward to going home and switched them around.
Because we do have the anti-chafe stuff. So trust me, guys, Bloke Undies, go to bloke.shop. They're the best in the business, and they're at an affordable price as well. Anyway, Sandor's not with us today. He had some meetings he couldn't get out of, unfortunately, but the big fella, he'll be back when we come back for Packer Up Boys next year. But Matty, how you going?
Good. Oh, that's right. This is the last episode of the year, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we are. It's getting to that time of year. Have you watched that baseball documentary on Netflix?
No.
Oh man, I just finished it yesterday.
And what's it called?
It's called The Comeback. And like they kind of give it away in the title, but so the Boston Red Sox, you know how we spoke about a few months ago, how they like didn't win for like 80 something years? It's basically about that. And how they've pretty much been second to the Yankees for like all this time. They go through all the history, and then they're 3-0 down in a 7-match series in 2004, and they end up winning. I highly recommend watching it. It's only 3 episodes. It's super good. But yeah, I just finished that yesterday. So good.
Damn, wish you didn't spoil it for me, because then I would have known whether it was a comeback or not.
Well, it's called The Comeback, so you kind of already know.
You try and lie to yourself. You lie to yourself and go, okay, maybe the comeback is metaphorically speaking. No, I haven't watched that yet. I'm actually started The Penguin.
The Penguin.
Everyone keeps raving about The Penguin. First episode dragged it a little bit at the start, but the way they wrapped it up, so good. Just such good writing. What a refreshing. It was just so good and so refreshing to see a mature, well-written, no nonsense, with twists and turns that you didn't see coming from a million miles away. And also just Colin Farrell, the way he played the character, the Penguin, sleazy car salesman that you kind of, you can't help but like, but you know he's bad, but you give him a second chance. Really, really works. So I've only watched the first episode, but just in the first episode alone, there's a better twist than friggin' most TV these days.
Yeah, right.
Just a well-written, mature, and I haven't even gotten to the end, and apparently it gets better and better. But,
is that the Penguin, as in like in the Gotham universe Penguin?
Yeah. But it's Colin Farrell. So they rebooted the Batman with the Twilight guy, Robert Pattinson, recently, which is actually a really good reboot. I didn't mind it, to be honest. I was a bit hesitant initially, just because it was so soon. It's like, Jesus Christ, it was freaking 2 seconds ago we had The Dark Knight. But it was actually quite good, and it brought a very gothic tinge to it. Whereas, like, you go back and watch some of the Christian Bale stuff, it's not as gothic, really.
Yeah.
It's called Gotham, the city. Anyway, so they rebooted that, and Colin Farrell was the Penguin in that.
Yep.
And so he's got his own spin-off, and it's after the series, the movies ends, continues on. And he's basically like an underground mob boss to a degree. But yeah, the twist and everything in there. So, and I'm sure people are going to leave in the comment section. Trust me, Denon, it's such a good show, because I've been seeing ranting and raving about it. But there, funnily enough, there's actually a Lord of the Rings animation out in the movies right now. War of Rohan or some shit like that. And apparently it's getting smashed in the...
Are you going to give it a go?
I don't think so.
Surely you're too curious.
Nah, I think maybe once it comes to...
yeah, true.
Like streaming. I'm trying to get it up here. Where is it? Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, maybe once it comes to streaming, But I have such fond memories of Lord of the Rings that I just don't want to.
Is it the same like story or what?
No, it's a prequel.
Oh, okay.
It's not a remake. But yeah, anyway, it's not getting the best reviews, which is disappointing. The War of Rohirrim. Anyway, it's not getting good ratings, which sucks. Disappointing, because I had high hopes. I thought, you know what, they'd learnt their lesson with Rings of Power, which was absolute, just so bad, so bad. Like, how is that much money could Amazon make such a bad TV show? It's actually insane. And I thought they'd learn their lesson, because I think it was Warner Brothers that's doing this.
Yep.
But apparently, no, they have not learned their lesson. What's crazy? It's like the source material is there, baby. Just use it. But they don't listen. They never listen. Also, don't forget, guys, brought to you by Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed. If you're in an Aaron, you go to feed, type in bloke or Denon, boom, give us a follow. It takes you 2 seconds, and you can see what we're punting on. I've got a bloke multi for the test this week, so you can get around that before the game starts. And plus got a bunch of other multis on the feed. So give us a follow. Good way to show your support. If you do have a punt on Sportsbet, it's a good way to show that the bloke community is strong and proud and getting around the bloke feed. What else has been going on, Matty?
As you said, cricket starts tomorrow. So I'm kind of just settling into a weekend of that, which is going to be nice. It's kind of interesting with the cricket. Like, I was talking to my grandpa about this. Neither test has gone over 3 days, but it's 1-1. It's kind of interesting how it's worked. Like, there's been absolute flogging in one, there's been absolute flogging in the other. Dave Warner was actually on Hello Sport podcast yesterday, and he was saying that the pitches in Australia are basically like, I knew there hadn't been many runs in Australia in the last few years. I just thought we were just having a bad run. But he's like, no, the pitches have actually changed, and it's kind of suiting the bowlers these days, which is kind of interesting, because you'd think Cricket Australia would want it to go for 5 days money-wise. But yeah, kind of. I don't know what to expect now that it's 1-1 and there's been 2 absolute floggings.
Wouldn't it be more exciting cricket to suit the bowlers?
Oh, I love it. Like, I hear a lot of people say they'd rather go for 5 days. I'm not really like that. I'd rather it be bowler heavy, but I would have thought that Cricket Australia wanted to go for 5.
Wouldn't it depend? Because like, if it goes 5 days, but that's because people are hanging in and just staying in for ages and trying to almost get a draw.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that'd be boring as.
It is, yeah.
However, I'm sure nothing can replace a tense match that goes down to the last hour of the last day.
Oh.
I mean, that's like literally sporting heaven, isn't it?
Yeah. I remember I was at the 2007 Sydney Test, where it was Australia versus India. Very controversial test match. But yeah, it came down to the last 2 overs, whole 5 days, and Michael Clarke got 3 wickets in 1 over. It was the best thing ever.
Yeah, like you can't, it's almost like a grand final that goes to Golden Point, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Do they go to Golden Point or whatever?
Oh, they used to it until 2015. Now they've changed it.
And so what is it now again?
Now it's extra time.
Oh, yeah, they changed it.
Yeah, remember how, I think last extra time we saw, I'm pretty sure, was Cowboys Sharks when Val kicked the field goal, but that didn't finish the game. But I think 90 minutes happened, and then Cowboys are up.
Yeah, it is crazy when you really do think about it. To get to a grand final and get done by a Golden Point.
It's actually ridiculous.
It's actually insane. Yeah. Like, your whole season hinges on them getting the first crack at, because that's what happened with the Broncos.
The Bronx, yeah.
Drop ball.
Yeah. It's
boom, gone.
When you really think about it, I'm glad they changed it. And they changed it immediately.
I think it's smart to change it, because like, like at the very least, in all fairness, even though they both get the same rules, like it could have been the Broncos kicking off and Cowboys dropping it, but like to not even get a right of reply, it's just like,
it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
However, in saying that, robbing Thurston of that moment, just a crazy, crazy moment. Well, how's the Argo looking? What's the Argo looking like? You don't have Shandor here to ask about your diet anymore. What's your algorithm looking like?
What is my algorithm looking like? Let me have a gaze. It's basically all this. I don't know if you want to talk about it. This freaking Luigi guy at the moment.
Oh, okay. The CEO situation.
Yeah, it's absolutely American
craziness. Mine is Path of Exile 2.
What's
new
that?
Video game coming out.
Yeah.
And it is such a good game. Far out. It's smashing my algorithm. It's weird. You play it and then you just like to listen to hear people talk about it. The only problem is it's like, man, there's so many. When something gets bigger and it's really hyped, you just get so many sooks that like complain about everything, and you're just like, bro. And that's a bad thing about something becoming mainstream per se is like nowadays, like people can't just critique things without friggin' saying it's the end of the world. You know what I mean? People can't just be like, oh yeah, I'll change this. They're like, it's either the best thing ever or literally it's the worst thing ever. There's no in between.
Yeah, I feel like that about like whenever Eminem drops an album. I'm like, I just know there's going to be so many people out there going, nah, shit.
Yeah,
and
washed, old, boring.
Just let me enjoy it.
But at the same time, it's like, it's even if it's bad, it's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, can you, for example, an Eminem album, people are like, nah, trash.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you possibly say that?
No.
Like the level of skill that he is rapping at is actually like nearly no one in the mainstream can do that in the mainstream. And so like you could say it's not my kind of rap, it's not my kind of music, but to say it's trash, it's like, what?
Just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, we deal with it. That's the weird thing about the internet. It's like, it's designed, at least social media apps and that, they're designed to, the algorithm is designed to only signal boost the most extreme takes. So like, you're never seeing all the middle stuff. You're only seeing the most extreme versions of both sides. And that's like, it's a concern because it just polarizes people more and more and more and more and more. And like, people always say like, they go, you know, on the internet, it's not real life. And what they're basically saying is like, that same person that you think is like this loony extremist on one side or the other, if you just sat down with them in a person and spoke to them, most of the time, obviously there are some times where they're freaking crazy. Yeah. Most of the time you just be like, oh, you know, you're actually someone who just kind of disagrees with me a little bit. But on the internet, it's just so polarized.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's just us versus them in everything.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the internet, especially social media, has removed the space for it to be not us versus them. It just, people just like disagreeing, but still on the same team. That's just been removed. Now these days, it almost feels like you're either on this team or on that team.
So true.
There's there's no same team but disagree. I feel like back in the day, to a degree, and I know that, you know, always look back in the day with nostalgia and all that kind of stuff and rose-colored glasses. But I feel like back in the day, there was like same team, but you can disagree within that team. Yeah. These days, it's just, and whether it's reviewing an album, a movie, or whatever. Now, don't get me wrong. Some things are just terrible, like Rings of Power.
Of course. Yeah.
Some things are just terrible. That is terrible, Rings of Power. But some things are just okay.
Yeah.
Some things are just okay.
Did you like Kendrick's album?
Yeah, it's a great album.
So good.
What I liked about it was the fact that he just said, oh, you know, everyone keeps talking about how I can't just release like a really easy listening, not pop, but like mainstream rap, hip hop album. And then he just goes, bang, here's 12 songs that are super easy listening, not many double entendres, can play in the car, at the gym, whatever, nails it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the best. Have you seen, they're still, I know like the beef's over, but the internet hasn't let go of the beef yet.
Well, because Drake is suing friggin'...
Oh, yes, he is.
He's suing his record label for something that he benefited more than anyone. Anyway. All right, huge news in rugby league. PNG is set to join the NRL in 2028. The ARLC has confirmed an agreement with the Australian government to fund a 10-year Pacific Rugby League partnership. The Pacific Rugby League partnership will support investment into grassroots pathways, elite rugby league across Papua New Guinea, Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, plus support the introduction of PNG-based NRL side. Look, I get all of the questions, and I get all of the this could go wrong and governments can change, and I totally get it. I totally get it. Like, I'm not sitting here pretending like, oh, you know, put your blinkers on, everything's great, it's all going to work out. But I just kind of think with this, like, the decision's been made. Let's get on board, baby. Like, yes, it might not work. It might not work. And in 10 years, we might go, damn, that wasn't the right decision. However, we've got to try something. We've got to grow as a game. And at the core of it, I guess, for anyone that's like fully against it, let's say they're like from a rugby league perspective, I'm not talking about it from a political perspective at all. Yep. I'm talking about it from purely rugby league. If you're against it, you have to ask yourself a question this. If you were a leader of the game and that you were sitting there and you had two decisions, one was take a government grant worth $600 million or not, which one are you doing?
Yeah, of course you're taking it.
Well, exactly. I think anyway, look, unless there was some other option where they were like, here's $600 million for the stadiums or something. I don't know. at least to my knowledge, it was, if you're going to get this 600 million, it's to grow the game in PNG due to the ties to China and blah, 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 all that political stuff. And I just think that, like, if you're in V'landys' shoes, yes, it's a huge risk, you know, whether the team will be competitive, blah, 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 all that stuff. But it's like he would have been, I feel like he would have been dragged across the coals if he had said no to that. Imagine if it got out and we found out that V'landys has gone, nah, I don't want to do that because it's it might not work. I'm not taking $600 million.
Yeah, no, it's just not an option. Surely.
Yeah. Surely as a leader of the game. And again, I'm not asking you to think of it from a citizen's perspective. Like, I don't know whatever your politics are, whether you believe the money is poorly spent or not poorly spent. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it from a fan of rugby league perspective. Like, if you're sitting there and go, look, I love rugby league and I want it to grow, I'm assuming most people go, you know what, you kind of don't have an option. You have to take the 600K.
I agree. And also PNG, like, you're right. We have to take risks, but it's right there in front of us. I know a lot of things can go wrong, but it's their national sport. They adore it over there.
Well, the way I look at it like this, I almost like, as a person that loves rugby league, and rugby league has given me so much, like, I get to live a life that I love because of rugby league. And so I don't even look at it from a perspective of if PNG come 15th, 14th, 16th, 17th. Like, I don't even look at it like that. I look at it from a perspective of how good would it be in 10 years' time if we can say rugby league helped lift the living standard of PNG. Like, all the money that's going to get invested there, hotels are going to be built, tourism, the amount of jobs, like thousands and thousands and thousands of jobs are going to be created. And so, like, in 10 years' time, if you can say rugby league played a part, I understand there are so much more important things in rugby league that would be playing a part, like infrastructures, all that stuff. I get it. But if you can say rugby league played a part in lifting the living standard of Papua New Guinea, like, for me, that's the focus. That's the win. If you said to me 10 years' time, it's lifted the living standard in PNG and helped give young people opportunities over there and helped give people jobs, but they came last every year, I would still say it's a win.
Yep, I agree. I like it from a rugby league perspective, but that's much bigger than rugby league.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, if the team goes well, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
But for me, for someone that has loved rugby league and that's given me so much, if it can give PNG something, especially it's the number one sport, then that's a win. And I think most people would, look, I'm not going to speak for most people, but I'd assume most people would agree. Like, if rugby league can help improve a country, isn't that a win?
Absolutely.
Isn't that a win? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a parent now, so I think of, you know, my son being given opportunities. Imagine all the young women and boys, young girls and boys over there given opportunities, and because that's what it's going to do. It's going to give you a lot of young women and a lot of young men opportunities at a better life.
And it's also going to give them something to get behind as well.
Aspire, something to bring a nation together.
Yes.
Because sport, we talked about earlier about polarization. Sport is like the last bastion where people from completely different walks of life, where they could disagree on everything, like literally so much so that, like, they almost hate each other. They come together at a sporting event and all of a sudden they love each other.
Yep.
It's the last thing that brings us all together, that removes, it doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, what you believe in, what you don't believe in. You go for the same footy team or the same sporting team, it brings people together.
Yep.
Like, look at England. Like,
I was just about to say England.
Yeah. Like, England's such a good example. And I was speaking to Maestro earlier and Hammy as well, and they brought that up as well. It's like, it's a like such a dire place to live weather-wise.
Yeah.
But the sport brings them together. It makes them so passionate about something. And you think of PNG, like, there's so much hardship over there. If they just had something bigger to believe in, hopefully that can help lift, the nation.
Yep, I absolutely agree. And I think it's a no-brainer, to be honest. Like, as I said before, it's a national sport. As you said, it's going to galvanise the country. I can't remember if it was the Prime Minister or one of the CEOs. It was like, we could get 1 million members.
Yeah, like, so 10 million people, like 10 million fans or whatever, 1 million members. And also, like, I think, a lot of people that are very negative on it, it's like, hang on a sec, like, talent's not a problem in PNG. Like, talent's not a problem. It's never been a problem for them.
Well, they came second. I know they've had a few lean years, but they came second in the Q Cup maybe like 8 years ago when they just came in.
Well,
and
they've won Q Cup.
Sorry, they won Q Cup. Sorry, they won Q Cup and they came second in the state championship. That's what I was thinking. And that they had nothing behind that compared to what they're going to get behind here. I know it's a different comp, but still.
Talent's not a problem. Yeah. Their under-22s drew with their juniors drew with our juniors Australian side just recently.
Did they really? Wow.
And they should have won. The PNG side should have won. And so, like, okay, what's the difference between us and PNG? Well, it's resources. It's the fact that, you know, if you're a young Australian, you've got footy from ages like 5 all the way up to first grade, like the best resources in the country, incredible resources. And so you take those young PNG girls and boys and you put them in a system all the way from a young age with resources. Who's to say that, because I think a lot of people are looking at it going like, and look, I'm guilty of it too, going, oh, they're going to have to find 20 people to sign to go and play for PNG, and how they're going to get 20 gun players from the NRL. But I don't actually think that's the case. I think that most of the top grade squad will be made up of PNG players.
Yeah.
And it might be like 10 to 15 signings that need to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So like, who's to say that given the resources, it may not be in the first few years, but who's to say in 10 years time, people that are 10 years old right now and they've spent 10 years in a system, they can't, because like, imagine this, you've got a whole country where it's their number one sport and they now have a team. They've got 10 million, whatever the population of PNG is, 10 million, I don't know what it is. And they're funneling all their best talent with resources into rugby league. Like it shouldn't be, talent is absolutely, like it's mathematically impossible for them not to have people talented enough to be one of the better sides in the NRL.
Look at the Warriors. Most of their talent goes to rugby union, and
imagine if New Zealand, it was their number one sport.
Oh, they would have won plenty of comps.
Like imagine if the Warriors were the All Blacks right now playing each week.
They would have won premierships.
1 million premierships.
Yeah, 100%.
And so you would hope, and granted, New Zealand and PNG are in different states in regards to their society, but you would hope that that's a similar situation. Can you get the population of PNG up, please? Because if you have that many people, given the right pathways, with enough funding, with enough resources, with the right coaching, with the right knowledge being taken over there, who's to suggest that they can't have a gun side?
You're pretty close. 11.8.
Yeah, 11.8 million people. Obviously, they aren't all young, men and women that play footy, but people always talk about Brisbane having this like being a one-team town. That's a bloody one-team country and the number one sport. It's their national sport. So, again, if everything is done right, talent shouldn't be an issue long-term.
I seriously think that this tax exemption thing is going to be huge for them too. Like, there's going to be people, like, it's a huge amount of money to get.
It's a huge amount of money. And, like, we actually got a caller, which was smart, because everyone keeps saying they got to live in a compound. But it's almost like living in a gated community to a degree. Compound's such an aggressive word.
Yeah.
And also, like, again, in 10 years' time, who's to say that they won't all be local PNG players?
Yeah.
We're talking about an entire country here. We're not talking about a Sydney club that has access to only 100,000 people to pick from. We're talking about a whole country that it's their number one sport, and they'll be bringing them through from the age 10 years old, 6 years old.
They'll finally have some pathways and opportunity, which they haven't had before.
So it'll all just be like, as long as the administration is done correctly and the money is spent correctly, and I think that there's a chance it could work. There really is. And instead of having to recruit 10 people with tax exemptions, they just go, we only need 3 or 4 Australians over here, or Kiwis over here, or Samoan, Tonga, whatever. We've got enough people. We've got enough PNGs. Like, eventually you would love to have 90% of their side PNG players.
For sure. Imagine when they make the finals for the first time, or they playing a prelim or playing a GF.
Yeah. Imagine, that's a thing, like, everyone thinks about all the downside of what could, but imagine if it works. Like, we can sit here and imagine if it doesn't work, or we can sit and be negative and glass half empty. Imagine if it works. That's 11 million more people, give or take, that are fans of rugby league that actually have a team to support.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yes, there's going to be challenges. Yes, I'm not saying it's going to work. Yes, you've got to be critical. You've got to be smart, all that stuff. But let's get around it.
Yep.
Let's get around it.
I wonder if we'll get a team before that, because they didn't specifically say that they were going to be the 18th team. They just said 2028. I think they could be, they're talking to Perth. I don't know when that's going to come in, but I think that might be earlier.
Maybe. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Johnny Bateman has reportedly informed the Rabbitohs he is pulling out of negotiations with them. Cowboys have now emerged as an option. Man, this whole thing's just weird. So strange.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the the media already know that Bateman's pulling out of negotiations. Very strange.
This whole ordeal's been strange from the start.
It's just like, I don't get it. What's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, like what's the point of saying, of the media finding out that his manager's no longer negotiating with South?
Maybe South leaked it? Because it wouldn't have been Bateman. Why would Bateman?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. It's hard to blame anyone. It's a bizarre thing.
It's weird.
Like normally you hear it's the club saying, we're not interested anymore.
Yeah.
But to hear a player not him come out and say it, but it be reported that he's not, whole thing's strange. And also I just don't think he's in it, not him, because he's not the one that's telling anyone, but let's say it's his management or whatever. It's not like he's in a position of power where he's got all of these clubs.
Exactly.
I don't get it. I don't get what's going on there. Now Cowboys have emerged an option. What I don't get, and why it doesn't make sense that his side would leak it, is why would you want to let other clubs know that you're no longer interested in talking to the Rabbitohs? All that does is drive down your value.
Exactly. Yeah.
With other clubs, they got more leverage over you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm actually as a South fan, I was looking forward to having him. So I don't know how he's going to, he's English. He's lived in Canberra and I don't know how he's going to go living in Townsville.
Yeah, it'd be tough. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this anymore. It's just been such a strange situation. Again, I don't know who's leaking what. You hear a new story each day. He's connected. The whole thing is bizarre.
I'm not surprised the Cowboys, though. They obviously had all that money for Robson, so they've got a bunch of cash sitting there. They probably should put it into a spine position, but yeah.
I'm just the weird thing about the Cowboys is I almost feel like an edge back row was the last thing.
They don't need that.
They got two of the young guys. Granted, he'd be a great mentor, about toughness and everything for those edge back rows, but surely you'd back in the fact that you've got Lukey, you've got Nanai. Surely there's a young fella there that can play edge back row pretty well.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't be starting. You wouldn't be starting him over Lukey and Nanai at the moment.
You'd be putting them off heaps. Imagine telling that to them. They're... Yeah, I don't know.
As I said, the whole thing is extremely, extremely strange. I don't know what's going on there. Use code HEAD for free delivery this week. Minimum spend is $30. Use code HEAD for free delivery this week. Minimum spend is $30. Obviously, massive thank you to Menulog, our partners. So download the app, guys. You get a discount every single week. This week, it's HEAD for free delivery, which is basically like going to the store. You get you get store prices, but they bring it to your door if you use code HEAD. And also, just a quick shout out to Rusty Rabbit. They've got a Darlinghurst store, they've got a St. Leonard store, and also they do catering. So if you want some catering, go to Rusty Rabbit's Instagram, give them a message. Golden Boot, Isaah Yeo has won the Golden Boot. First Aussie to win in 7 years. I probably would have given it to Turbo. Yep. However, I'm just stoked Isaah Yeo won it. Just some recognition finally.
He deserves something, doesn't he?
He does. And also, you go look at that final stats, they're unbelievable.
Yeah.
He had 50 tackles, 1 miss or something like that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And what I like about this is he definitely played well enough to be contention. Whether you had Turbo, Deard and him, I'm happy either way. I probably would have leaned a little bit towards Turbo, but if you picked Yo, I'm with it. I'm absolutely with it. And so what I like about it is finally Isaah Yeo's getting the respect and the raps he deserves.
I think he was second when it comes to Clive Churchill. So I'm happy he won because, as I said before, he just deserves something. I know the Golden Boot is just for international, but it didn't used to be. And if it's for how he's played the whole year, I think he deserves it. If you're talking just international, 100% would have given it to Turbo. But as you said, I'm not put offside by it at all. He killed it.
And also, there are other, Turbo does the flashy stuff. Isaah Yeo does all the stuff that, that's what his career's built around, is the non-flashy stuff. So either or, I'm happy with.
Especially going up against that forward pack.
Oh, mate, he was phenomenal. Worked himself to a standstill. And I'm just stoked Isaah Yeo's finally getting the respect he deserves. Because he's in a team of stars and all that and everything, he just, even though people rate him, I don't think they're really appreciating how important he has been. Like, there were periods this year where Penrith were playing poorly, and it was Dylan Edwards and Isaah Yeo essentially off the canvas kind of stuff, carrying their side. Like, without Isaah Yeo playing as well as he did throughout the year, Penrith Panthers would have dropped numerous amount of games. And so I think that people are really starting to come around where they're just going, you know what? Like, Isaah Yeo's going from, he's a pretty good 13 to like, where do we begin to rate Isaah Yeo in regards to great 13s? Like, again, I'm not putting him in the greatest of all time spot yet, but he's getting to the point where you start to have to ask, like, where does he rate? Like, where do you, in the modern era of 13s, where do you put him? Because his resume is unbelievable.
It's one of those things, it's like, if just as a player, you'd probably have someone like Taumalolo or whatever, but like, he fits into that winning team better than probably anyone else could.
Well, like, you got Burgess when he played 13. Yeah. Taumalolo was more of a front rower 13.
Yeah.
Trying to think, you got guys like, Corey Parker, Gal played a bit of 13.
Bradley Clyde. But again, 13's changed like so many times.
But again, look at his resume.
Well, he's won, exactly.
He's been the co-captain of 4 premierships in a row, 5 grand finals, and he's won, 3 Origin series now?
About
his resume is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And also, he is a key component. Matter of fact, he's so key, I would consider him part of Penrith's spine. Like, he's essentially a spine player for them. Like, when you talk about 1, 9, 6, 7, throw 13 in there with the Panthers. Like, you take 13 out, they're a whole different side. It all revolves, not all of it, a lot of it revolves around Isaah Yeo. And so, he's finally getting the respect he deserves. And it's taken probably a bit too long, but I'm glad that he's getting it because, like, to think how good he is in attack, but then you go and look at his defensive stats. He goes like whole seasons and miss like 4 or 5 tackles.
Well, that World Cup, I'm pretty sure like 2 years ago, didn't he miss 1 tackle the whole tournament?
That's what I mean. Like, we talk about, everyone always talks about Isaah Yeo's ball playing, which is great. It's awesome. It's incredible. And we talk about his fitness, his ball running. He's got some of the best defense in the NRL, bar none. Like, he misses, I think if you go over his career, like, his percentage is like 95% or something crazy like that.
See what doesn't get spoke about either? I don't really remember him missing any games. He's so durable. And like, some of the best, like, availability is one of the best assets you can have. For sure.
Durability and playing at a high click each week. He has it all. He has the finesse of a brilliant ball player. He has the footy IQ of a halfback. He's got the toughness of a front rower. Like, we're talking about a guy that you can put in the front row in Origin that can then go be put back in 13, and he plays like a 6 sometimes. Like, he genuinely plays like a 6. That breadth of ability is second to none. Like, tell me a player that has that much breadth of ability. The only other one I can think of is maybe Cam Murray. Like, that has truly that much breadth of ability where you could go chuck him in the front row, put him at 13, but I'd argue that Isaah Yeo's ball playing is probably a little bit better than Murray's, and maybe Cam Murray's ball running is a bit more explosive. But again, Isaah Yeo, you can put him in the front row, and also he captained his state this year as well. When Jake Trbojevic come off,
it's true. Yes,
he was captain, wasn't he, when he won the field?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was.
I think so.
Could you check it? I'm pretty sure when he went on the field, he became captain.
I think he was vice captain. Yeah.
And so, like, just another notch in his belt. Like again, very rarely do you find a player with the breadth of ability that he has, all the way from ball playing like a half to being a front rower to being the best defensive player on the competition. There's a handful of players that can do that, if any. Like, he is such a rare breed, and I'm glad he's getting his reps.
Yeah, he was vice captain for the Blues. He's also captain of Australia, which I totally forgot about.
Boom. Like, it's
captain of the country.
Incredible. The breadth of this guy is truly remarkable. It is truly remarkable. And, there's very few people in the history of rugby league. I'm not saying he's the only one, but what I'm saying is it is very rare to find a guy that can play front row, but also be able to ball play like a 6, but also be the best defender on the field, but also be able to bend the line, but also be able to have decent footwork, all those things, but also have great footy IQ. He has that.
And if they absolutely needed it, he come into Penrith as a back rower.
It's crazy. It's incredible. And so I think people are starting to really go, okay, hang on a sec. Like, don't get me wrong, Nathan Cleary, he's the man at Penrith, and rightly so. There's no one, you couldn't find a bloke that doesn't rate Nathan Cleary as like higher than me. I think he is truly already a GOAT. I think he's almost guaranteed to be in the top 3 of all time, if not the best of all time. But then there's a man next to him, Isaah Yeo, that's had a big part to play in that. That also we need to start having that discussion of like, where do we rate Isaah Yeo? You know, he is the co-captain in the most dominant side, arguably in history.
Yep.
At the very least, one of the most dominant sides in history, and he helped build that as one of the co-captains. Also a captain when he went on the field for New South Wales, vice-captain, also captain of his country. It's an incredible resume.
Yeah, and who's to say it's going to stop anytime soon?
It's just crazy. And he's one of the most durable players ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, stoked for Isaah Yeo, absolutely. Alrighty, Hubble Hub brings together live and upcoming sport in one view, so you won't have to jump in and out of different apps to find where to watch your favourite sport this summer. Even better, sport on Hubble Hub is integrated into one easy-to-navigate interface across your favourite apps, and they have an amazing offer at the moment. When you buy Hubble Hub for $99, you can get Netflix and Kayo Sports for $25 a month. $25 a month for 12 months. That's a saving of $7.99 a month for 12 months. It's sport and entertainment for less. Plus, it's super convenient. Buy Hubble Hub. Buy now at hubble.com.au. That's hubbl.com.au. And also, don't forget, Good Day, use code DMP for 10% off. Combine that with subscription for 20% off. BeGoodHealth.com.au. Use the multivitamin that we all use here. Use it every single day. It's part of my routine. Easy, and it's the best in the business. Papenhuyzen, Storm have officially re-signed him next year, 2026. He said that he was initially disheartened by the long-term offer, but he understood why.
Yeah. I actually didn't realise that it wasn't made official yet. I was actually surprised by the news yesterday. I thought they'd done that already, but it must have been media reports. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised, to be honest.
I guess the surprise is the fact that it's only for a 1-year extension, because he says he's disheartened by the long-term offer.
Yeah.
So that's not a long-term offer. So I'm assuming they offered him a longer-term deal, and he was like, oh, that's not as much as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And maybe he settled for a 1-year deal on a bit of a pay cut.
He probably settled. Maybe not winning the comp this year. He's like, I want to do that again, and then maybe he'll go shopping.
Because the only thing I can assume is they're basically timing far longer to be ready by 26 to take that full-time fullback.
It's so interesting. I don't know, like, Fa'alogo is going to be a beast, you'd think, but I know Paps has had some injuries, but he's a proven Clive Churchill winner. He's
a gun. It's a bit of a, like, it's not a risk, but like, I guess if you ever wanted to believe a player when he says, I'm trying to win a premiership, I think this is a good example
100%.
of that. Because he could have got a 3 or 4 year deal probably somewhere else.
Well, the Dogs were going to give him a massive deal, apparently.
And so, he's sitting there and going, you know what? I think we can win a comp. I'm willing to take a pay cut for it.
Yep.
I got a lot of respect for it. I also got a respect for his honesty. I really liked his honesty when he talked about it, because like usually, you wouldn't hear players say that after signing a deal, but he was honest. He said he was a bit disheartened, but he understood. I think it's smart by Papenhuyzen. I really do, because they can win a comp.
Yeah.
They can. And so it's like, you know what? Just stick it out for a year or two more, get that competition, and then, potentially move on. Get the big bucks after.
I'm glad he didn't settle for the long-term deal either. Like, he deserves. He's a freak.
I've got a feeling he's going to play. Like, I think he just got really unlucky for a couple of years with injuries. And I actually think that he's going to be quite durable going forward.
And like the injuries, so the first one was a head knock and he was out for 10 weeks, which is unlucky. But the second injury was a freak accident.
Yeah.
And then the third injury was his comeback game. He did something to his leg. Like, it's not like he's doing his hammy every 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's not soft tissue or, so I actually think he's going to play a lot of games. Look, yeah, I like it. I hope they kill it. They win a premiership and they re-sign him again. I like him at the Storm. However, if that's not the case, then at least he gets another opportunity to win a comp with this playing group.
I wonder what the communication with Fa'alogo is like.
Oh.
It's interesting because I don't know.
Because you're basically like, unless you're telling him that no, you can get that spot, you're basically saying for another 2 years. Because like I know it's like we actually spoke about it with the Moses situation. Like I know it's so easy to just say, oh come on mate, you're a young fella. Bide your time. You'll only be 22, 23 years old. It's like, bro, that's like 4 years after, like, for example, a guy like Moser, a lot of other clubs, he would have debuted ages ago.
Yeah.
or a guy like Harry Grant. Like Harry Grant had to wait till he's 23. The only reason even then he loaned himself out to the Tigers. But he was behind the greatest of all time, essentially in any position. And so, like, it's very easy as analysts of the game to go, oh, come on, mate, just wait another couple of years. But it's like, bro, anything could happen in a couple of years. Like, I want to be playing first grade now.
You say it all the time to guess. Like, when you were 19, you were the most impatient person. Everyone's kind of the same.
But like just being like, oh, just wait 2 years. 2 years is a long time.
Yeah.
A long time, especially when you've been promised certain things.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as simple as just going, and like anything can happen for you. Like, you could get injured in reserve grade, or, you know, you play reserve grade and all of a sudden they lowball you. And then, whereas if you're playing first grade where they promised you, you're worth way more. Like, you know, we're talking about athletes here. It's almost against their nature to just go, okay, yeah, no worries. For example, hey, mate, you're in line behind this guy, wait 2 years. What if another young gun comes in and kills, like, you know, you just don't know. And so it's going to be tough, man. Fa'alongo is way too good to be sitting on the bench for 2 years. So that 2027 is when you would have suggested he's going to be that fullback full time.
And so, but Storm's saying to him, oh, but we're not going to re-sign Papenhuyzen after that? Like, what if Papenhuyzen kills it and they want to keep him?
Yeah.
It's a tough situation.
It's a very, like, I'm assuming Bellyache has enough confidence to go, you'll be coming off the bench.
Yeah.
For a longer, you'll be our 14. But then it's like, where's Wishart fit? Put both on the bench, I guess. It's a tough one. I tell you what, if they manage to keep a guy like Fa'alongo chill for 2 years, not being the starting fullback, and let me be clear here, I'm not suggesting that he should be a starting fullback over Pappy just yet.
Oh, no.
But what I'm saying is, at a lot of other clubs, they'd pay big bucks to get Fa'alongo there, and he would be starting fullback at a lot of other clubs.
Imagine how many clubs would take him right now.
And so it's like, you know, if you're Fa'alongo, you're sitting there going, wow, 2 whole years of not being the starting fullback. It's a long time, but if anyone can do it, it's the Melbourne Storm. Yeah. And if there was anyone I would like trust to handle it and give him the best development possible, it's the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah.
Like a lot of other clubs, I would be like, you know, but Melbourne Storm, you know, Harry Grant, they handled his development perfectly. Look what he's turned into.
That was a masterstroke.
Like a true masterstroke. I wonder whether they would even consider loaning Fa'alongo out.
Yeah.
And to give him those reps.
Well, it's worked in the past, but you are kicking the can down the road because Cam Smith was about to retire. I just don't know what's going to happen in 2 years.
You know, I got a bit of a wild theory. I reckon Bellyache for the PNG coach.
Wow. Yep. Really?
Yep. Just obviously like pure nonsense theory.
Yeah, you have to disclaim that.
Yeah, disclaim that, guys. I'm not saying. Don't go and tell your friends Denon said that he just signed with PNG and he's going to be the coach. Just pure bit of fun theory or whatever. I don't know. I think that the NRL sit him down. He's already been talking about retiring pretty much every year for the last 3 or 4 years. I think the NRL sit him down and go, here's $1 squillion. You're helping develop the game over there. I think if you're like the owners of Melbourne Storm, it's much easier to swallow him going to develop the game in PNG than Bellyache going to Brisbane or, you know, whoever, the Raiders or wherever. You know, if you're the Storm, that's if you were to say like PNG is not a rival or anything like that. And so I don't know. I reckon if you're fair dinkum about getting PNG to work, you get a guy like Craig Bellamy as the head coach.
He's the perfect pick, but geez.
Because think about
pay him some money.
a lot of people always go, well, you know, getting people over there, you're only going to want to get people that want all the money, blah, blah. Think about how many people will go there just to play under Bellamy.
True. Yep. And Bellamy's, I mean, rugby league didn't exist in Melbourne for that long before Bellamy. Like, I know he didn't come at the start, but he was there in their like 5th or 6th year, and look what he's done.
I'm telling you, I reckon he'd be the perfect person.
I think he'd be the perfect person. Yeah. I don't know if they'll get him there, but yeah.
Mate, the money they could throw it in. Because the thing is like, put it this way, if the NRL came out and said, we paid him heaps, it's not under the salary cap, you know why? Because we're trying to develop the game. Who's going to have a problem with that?
Oh, of course not.
Like, what other club is going to go, hang on a sec? Because I'm pretty sure you've got administration salary cap or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. I think so. But there's already a salary cap exemption.
Yeah,
pretty
much. Saying. Like, no one is going to go, you're paying Bellyache too much money. They're going to be like, okay, we get it. We want the game to grow here.
Yeah.
It's better for everyone if PNG go well. So I don't know. I think it might be something to think about.
Fuck, imagine that salary, because he'd be tax free as well.
He'd be tax free, and then NRL would probably chip in some for it.
Yeah,
you'd be getting paid a mozza, and also he'd be able to get players over there because people want to be on the bellyache.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just a bit of a theory. Alrighty, that is us done and dusted. Packer up, boys, for the year. Just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who listened this year. We really appreciate it. We got the Monday show, so don't worry. We'll still got the Monday show. That closes down until January 6th. But last Packer up, boys. But I'll see you on Monday anyway. See you on Monday.
See you Monday.
As usual. As usual, I'll go and fuck myself. Thank you.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.